Good evening and welcome to our annual meeting for Attleborough Town Council. I'd like to welcome all of those who have taken the time out this evening. I keep saying this for anyone who attends our meetings, there are better things to do in life than the council meeting, but we're grateful for you being here. On a personal note, I'd like to thank councillors, members of the public, the groups and community groups and everybody that's contributed to the success of the last 3 years of my term as mayor. I'm smiling because I won't be mayor in a few years. So it's good to have a full house here. Congratulate councillors on their election to the table. Good to see a full house as well, and all the councillors attend. I'd also like to secondly congratulate those who are our district members as well. And third of all, congratulations on their appointments that they received earlier today. Thank you very much for your representation of the community. We do appreciate it. And without further ado, we'll get to the bit I've been looking forward to. Election of the chair of the council. Do we have any nominations for election? Peter?
I'd like to nominate Councillor Ed Tyra.
Do we have, I should ask Councillor Tyra, would you accept that nomination?
Yes. Thank you.
And is there a seconder for that nomination? Councillor Joe Ellis. Are there any other nominations? Well, we still have to have a vote as well. So vote for approval for Councillor Tyra becoming chair of the council. Those in favour? Those opposed? Any abstentions? One abstention. Thank you very much. Well, I will hand over now to Councillor Tyra.
Oh, that smile of yours.
There we go. That's good. Yeah.
Well done. Cheers. Thank you. Congratulations. Sorry. That's the official bit.
There we go. I don't want that. Don't click there.
Congratulations, Ed.
Well, first of all, can I say thanks so much to Councillor Leslie for steering the ship over the last few years where we had a bit of an interesting time with the Town Council. And I do believe we're in a far better shape than where we were. I don't want to go into that, but we are, and there's so much thanks to Councillor Leslie. I know personally the effort he's put in. So, Bill, thank you. I'm very honoured. I think anyone. Well, first of all, as councillors, we should be honoured to be elected by the community. We have a responsibility. I'd like to say some words at the end of the meeting on that, but we do. So we should all be honoured to represent Attleborough, the community, businesses, and what it stands for. As a chair, thank you. I really, really do appreciate this. It is an honour. It's humbling. But as a chair, all I do is chair the committee. I don't have executive powers. I may be invited to meetings, but I cannot make decisions. All decisions are made by us as councillors representing the community. So my role is to try and order us. That is all. And perhaps cut some ribbons or whatever. But it is a great honour. And right, so moving on. Even bought a new computer for it. That's not true. Thank you. So moving on to item 3, election of deputy chair, deputy mayor for municipal year. No nominations.
I nominate Taylor Tyler as deputy chair.
Are there any other nominations? Okay, if not, can we please vote on this? Second. Beg your pardon. A bit short. So seconder, that? Councillor Leslie, can you please vote on it? Any objections? Any abstentions? So, congratulations, Councillor Taylor. And can I also thank Councillor Bond for all the work. He has put an awful lot of work in last year as vice chair, and knowledge you've got, you know. But
I'll pick up my stuff.
Well done.
Okay, again, thank you very much to all councillors and members of the public and those watching for joining us this evening. It is a new term of council, 4 years, and I just reiterate we need to keep moving forward, and I'll say a few words at the end of the meeting. Item 4, apologies for absence. I don't think we have any, which is fantastic. Thank you very much. Declaration. Sorry, first of all, can I also welcome new councillors or new old councillors, or whatever that have been re-elected, and look forward collectively we all work together. So declarations of interest. Are there any interests? Councillor Sam Taylor.
I have a pecuniary interest in 10E and I have a personal interest in 14 on a whole.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Item 14, policy.
Sorry, could you- Any others? No. Okay, moving on to next item, which is public participation. And again, good to see so many people out there. Anyone want to say anything? Andy.
Thank you. I just wanted to pay a little bit of recognition to the outgoing council. Everything happened so quickly. And some people might not be aware of some of the great things that happened over the last couple of years. The Wheel Park, the London Road play area, Decoy Common, the Dell, the improvement to the other play areas, the seating, the picnic benches, the bins. I mean, there's been a huge amount done over the last couple of years. I just think the outgoing council should be congratulated for that. In particular, a couple of people on that, and one is Michelle, who was not a councillor as the town clerk, has done an amazing job. Excuse me. Also, Phil, I'll be honest, I don't know how Phil's managed to do it all and have a business and have a family. But I think Ed's got a hard act to follow with all the hard work that's taken place. It's not just the improvements in the environment, the events such as the book sales, the pancake races, the first responder, all the events that have been organised by the council. A really, really productive couple of years. Got a whole new set of councillors, or many new councillors, and I look forward to seeing all the councillors working together to try and at least, well, and to try and better what's been achieved over the last couple of years.
Thank you. I echo that as well. So, and also again, Andy, thanks for your time as councillor.
I was appreciate this. I was keeping out of it.
It is all voluntary, you know, there is a lot of time. Anyone else? Even if you'd like to say hello.
Mayor, as I came before about the skate park, great it's there, but you need to get them back and check the concrete. Starting to break on the edges already. Around the joins, just get them back soon. From experience of other parts, or it will be breaking up in no time. Should be worried. I was up there the other day and you're starting to see where they're joined, starting to break up a bit.
Okay.
It's worth just getting them back to check it. Not
Okay.
starting to see some deterioration, which that quick is a bit of a worry.
Okay, noted. No, thanks
Yeah,
very
I'll
much.
make a note of that. They have been back once and it was
Yeah.
fine, but that was probably about 8 weeks
Yeah,
ago
you
now. I'll
just
get
need
to
to
have another
look
look.
where it joins, whether it's because it's set in the winter and concrete.
It might be
just
bad,
starting to see
yeah.
it breaking,
Okay,
and before they walk away and go, no, it's out of warranty or whatever.
sure.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Andy. They didn't cancel us.
So I
Okay, no.
cancelled something tonight, so I could be here to come and tell you about that.
Really appreciate that. And thanks, and Councillor Westby. Terribly. Look at that. No, but thanks for raising that. Yes, please,
Just like to
at the
know
back.
any agenda in future for children this Attleborough, because at the moment I don't think a skate park is enough. I do believe the children of this council of Attleborough need more. They need youth parks, they need youth club, they need people to help them, they need social workers, they need a lot of things. I just walked from bus shelter, there's 20 children down there, 10 years old, 12 years old, 14 years old. They've got nowhere to go. And this council needs to try and help them to, it will be a better society when they get better jobs and they will stay in town. At the moment, no one's doing nothing about that. I've got a son who's nearly 12 years old and he's got nothing at all. He plays on his Xbox, he goes up, and that's it. That's all he's got. I do believe there needs to be youth clubs, social workers at the youth clubs, so they've actually got someone to talk to. I do believe if you've got an agenda going forward, I do hope you actually can help the children of this town.
Okay, thank you. And yes, totally agree with you. And it's something we do need to look at. Personally, I've got my own views, and I'd like to share those with council at the appropriate stage. Not tonight. I totally understand what you're saying, and it has been discussed in the past, and there is this impasse. And what do we do
The
with
skate park wasn't enough, so it's not for everyone, is it?
so? Councillor Taylor, I'll just wait until any other member of the public. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Just in response to the gentleman that just spoke, you are right, we do need to do more, but just for your information, there is a youth club starting here in July.
Is there?
So that will be,
Thank you.
and
Appreciate
there is a contextual safeguarding team that will start to work with more closely. So in terms of you saying about having contact with social workers and things, we've probably got a bridge to that kind of thing
It's
now.
hard, I know it's hard.
Yeah, but I'm hoping the youth club being in the centre of town will make a big difference and make it quite accessible.
I'm hoping so, yeah. Thank you, appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Councillor.
I was just actually going to come back to the gentleman and say, obviously we've spent a few days over at Breckland in the last week or so, and actually next Tuesday, the 23rd, 4 of your ward members actually do have an officer from Breckland coming over to meet with us to discuss that exact matter.
Thank you, appreciate that a lot. Thank you very much.
Okay, good. No, go on, you first.
Hi, well, I was gonna come back on this, but also I have to follow up with another residents and financial thing. Okay, so 2 things. So I was just gonna say, on that specific thing, we had our annual meeting at Breckland Council today, and I was appointed as the outside body for the Youth Action Group for Attleborough, which is part of the Youth Advisory Board, and I would very much welcome any representations that would be beneficial for the town. And additionally, with representations that are relevant for the public participation, I was contacted today by a member of the public who said, Hi Taylor, can you bring up in your first meeting tonight that Gamers football ground grass has not been cut and the youth football team cannot play or train up there until it's cut, as it's 3 to 4 inches long and the parents are having to take their own lawnmowers up to cut the grass. Our football club have been told it's not being cut till next week. We all have games this Saturday. I have mentioned this to Councillor Ellis as well. Thanks, hope you are good and well.
Okay, so I think we totally take on board your comments and sentiments as council. During Councillor Leslie's time, and I know the council has been involved. It is a priority. It's been talked about for a long time, and even I've got concerns, but there are things in motion, and hopefully we can progress them further. It is important. There's no doubt about it.
Very important.
The
Children this at the moment, 10, 12,
Yeah.
14 years old, yeah, that will bring this town in 5 years' time, stay here. Do you see where I'm coming from with that?
No,
It is a case of they will carry on bring this town up. But if we don't treat them well now, they'll leave, things will happen, people get arrested, and kids do silly things. I just feel there needs something for them at the moment, really, definitely need that.
and that has been.
Thank you, appreciate it, thank you very much.
Can I just respond to Councillor Taylor's contact from the public regarding the grass? There is a reason that grass hasn't been cut, and that's because we've been contacted by members of the public this week and asked to divert from that because there have been a number of podium traps racing on gamers, and we've been asked to stop the grass cutting and try and secure the site instead, which we've prioritised. So that's why the grass cutting's not getting done. Because we've had some secret videos sent to us that residents have taken, and they're very worried that this is going to become a regular occurrence and it's damaging the football pitches.
Okay, thank you. I think that's a separate discussion we can pick up.
Well, it is, but it's not
but
based
yeah,
on
back to the fundamental issue of what can we do for you. I was vice chair of governors at the school. I'm fully aware. And
Fully aware of the situation at the moment, yeah.
So thank you for
It's getting worse, you know that, so
Yeah.
I'm trying to help.
Any other comments, Councillor Lane? Sorry, Becky.
I had a contact from a resident, and we've got quite a lot of members of the Blooms here, so they might be able to guide. What does a resident do if they're living next door to a house with a really overgrown garden? Who do they? I said, I'm sure it's not us they come to. I think you have to go to Breckland, and I said I would ask, but they also wanted to know if the Bloomers can help out with vulnerable people who can't do their gardens. And I said I think we'd have to contact them direct. But it was just really the case of what do they do if they're living next door to a property that has sort of got a neglected garden? Who do they contact?
Okay, we can pass that on to the Bloomers. Well, if it's Breckland property, yes. If it's private property, there's not an awful lot to do, but no.
Anything like that on kept land.
But we'll bring, thanks, Councillor, appreciate it. Anyone else at this stage? You've got the opportunity to sit through the meeting, and bless you. And at the end of it, think, oh, here's a question. But if not, let's move on. So, minutes of Town Council meeting held on 3rd of April 2023. Now, I'm conscious there are some new councillors here, so you can't really vote on it because you weren't there. So, looking at existing councillors, are there any comments or concerns? Yes.
Just a couple. The public statements that were cancelled due to PERDA 201/22. They were supposed to be put forward to this agenda and they weren't. Do we now want to add them onto another agenda? Or are we just going to cancel that?
I look at other councillors. I mean, if it's
No, it's just that we specifically
significant.
said on this, remember we will
Well,
put it onto the next agenda.
if there was an action and we've not done it, then, you know, one could argue we need to action it, but if councillors feel it's not important now, then.
And the other one, very similar issue, sorry.
Yeah, do you mind? I was just gonna say, this isn't matters of rising, it's the acceptance of the minutes, so it's really just the accuracy of those minutes, none of the matters that are coming out
Yeah.
of this.
I'm just gonna say, I think that ship sailed anyway.
Okay. But in terms of what was said, accuracy,
And I
agreed.
agreed.
So,
I would propose.
Opposed, seconder. That's it, Susan, vote of acceptance. Those that can vote, thank you very much. Moving on to exciting issues of planning matters.
Sorry, can I just add?
Sorry, but
That one there said add to next agenda as well, and it hasn't been added to the next agenda, which is the refurbishment of the town hall.
right, okay, well,
So,
it's
Not for this agenda, I would say, but could we perhaps add it onto the future agenda?
okay, thank
It just
you.
shows I read the minutes. though, doesn't it?
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, moving on to item 8, planning matters. Which hopefully you've seen in your packs. So, they take planning application. Any objections to those that's been submitted? In terms of planning applications not due yet, for consideration and resolution. I'm not going to read the full references because it's really boring, but 0435 Chroma Farm West Farm Road. Any comments?
Sorry, Chair. I'm happy to propose that we ratify first part A,
Yeah.
which is already given, and then we.
Okay, sorry,
No, that's okay. Hey, I've been in the chair, so I know what it's like. It's good also, not a problem at all, no criticism. But I'm very happy to propose that we ratify the responses already made. And then we can go on to the next bit.
Okay, so
I'll second that.
thanks, councillors. Thank you very much. And show of hands. Bit of a learning curve. Not anything is.
Sorry, if I may, as a member of the planning committee, I probably should have just paid any input from there. There's not a thing wrong, there's no money to be made in it, but I will be abstaining from the votes and everything.
Thank you very much. So moving on to planning applications. So 0435 West Car Road. Installation of 20 solar panels to roof an existing garage extension. Can I remind councillors, and it's been interesting over my 12 years, that sometimes councillors think they are the planning authority. We are not. We are a statutory consulting. We can give comments, so it's either, you know, we object or we have concerns, but we can't say approval or refusal. So if we have objections, they need to be on planning grounds or whatever. So, Laurie, Councillor Lane,
Can I
please.
thank Councillor Tyra for saying that, because so many people misunderstand our role at this level with planning applications, and I really think we see social media going mad about things that have been passed, and they think, you know, thank you for saying that, and I think we need to, you know, drive it home what our role is.
And it can be frustrating for
Yes.
the public and also frustrating for us as councillors, but that's the governance factor of the world that's in the UK. Councillor Leslie.
Yeah, I'm very happy to see solar panels going up onto those applications. It's something that we need to move forward and support. I have no objections. I'm happy to. You know that.
And generally, that's consensus. I don't really want to vote on these because it almost seems like approval or refusal. You know, it's, if you've got an objection, please state it. You know, we will know that it's on.
Councillor Tyler, are you doing all three of these in one, or are you taking them?
I'm doing them individually. The second one, 0434. Same thing. So, tactically.
On the application, one to the-
Any objections? And I think going forward, you know, if we've got objections, then yes, let's note those at the town council, pass them forward, not let's vote on everything if councillors are happy with them. 0485, Plot 4 West Car Road, redesign of existing plot into 4-bedroom dwelling, and change from use of dwelling to rear garden. No objections. Okay,
Councillor
thank you.
Tyler?
Yep.
The only thing to be noted on that is it's outside of the settlement boundary.
Good point. However, our statutory consultee was still able to, anything outside
Yeah,
the
but it
boundary,
is
was
outside the
still
boundary.
able to
That's what we
pass any
noted.
comments, but no, thank you. You know that's Breton.
Do you want? On what basis? We don't support it because it's outside?
No, it's just in terms of anything being, yeah. And it probably hasn't caught up through the system, so it's not critical. Okay, moving on. Thank you very much. Item 9, financial matters. So hopefully you've read through these. 9A, to authorise payments, acceptance and approval. Anyone got any comments? Sorry, Councillor.
Hey, can I just ask a question about microshade on 9A? Just what is that actually for?
So that is for our secure computer systems.
New computers?
No, secure computer systems. So it's a cloud-based,
Right.
secure. So all your council emails and everything, that's all set up through.
Is that an annual payment?
It's 2 months, so.
No, it's 2 months.
2 months.
It's not cheap.
Yes.
With Ben Burgess, cheaper hire. £1,520. Is our cheaper one wrong? Or has used to have?
This was authorised some time ago.
Okay.
Do you remember, Joe, we had the conversation in full council about not burning anymore and that we'd have to get a chipper instead?
Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
there was a chipper in there last year or the year before.
There was a number of items that were either obsolete or beyond repair that were traded in against the new tractor.
Fine.
Okay. Any other comments?
I'm happy to propose acceptance.
Seconder. Councillor Bond. Those in favour? 9B, to agree direct debits. Again, any comments?
I propose acceptance.
Okay, thank you. Those in favour? Thank you very much. To receive income. Yeah, any comments?
So on the book sales.
Yeah. Happy to propose.
I'm happy to propose acceptance.
Happy to second. Yeah. Those in favour? Thank you very much. Petty cash for information. Anyone got any comments or concern? No. Income and expenditure. Now, I know this is a biggie, we're all new councillors, and what have you, and I don't expect any of us to comment or, well, we can comment, obviously. But to understand this, it would be useful for myself, you know, and others. I open that invite to all councillors to sit down at some stage and go through the general budget, so we all have a better understanding of how it works. So we can make informed comments and informed decisions on this rather than looking at the bottom line. But you know, I'll look at the town clerk at the moment and just say, you know, from your point of view, in terms of financial business of the council, how does it?
We're okay, we've just done our year end. The only thing that has been noted, which I think we all need to be aware of going forward, is, for example, with the skate park, there was an agreement that would come out of general reserves. But even if we're going to spend a significant amount out of general reserves in the future, we should try and make sure that's on its own line in the budget. So that's just something to be aware of. But there's no other issues.
Okay. I think what would be useful, again, there's an education for all of us, is to have a better understanding of this. As you said, you know, we've got general reserves. Well, what does that mean to some councils? And what projects might have in the future? But for this evening, it is for information, run positives, which is a good thing. And you know, I would welcome comments in terms of going forward, how we can improve that, and that's a big strategic, you know, discussion with Newhouse. Absolutely.
Just one thing, now we've introduced the large grant reward scheme. I don't think we've actually got a line for that budget for the large grant. So I know we've got some considerations to look at under correspondence.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering if maybe that needs to be looked at, but you know, where that money will come from for the large grants.
Okay, good point. I don't think we can answer that tonight.
No, I'm just saying that's
certainly,
something we need to.
and I think
Yeah.
this is part of the wider
Yeah.
discussion with the wider budget. Yeah.
Yeah, I just echo what Councillor Lane just said. It's going to be a question I was going to raise. That if you're going to look at potentially giving grants, how do you know how much pool you've got?
Yeah.
Well, we
to
do
draw
have a
from?
grants budget, but the new larger grants that council agreed don't tie into the current budget, so the money isn't in the budget to do it. So that will have to be looked at.
Put one on going forward.
Yeah, it is a key issue. Sorry, Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, those of us that have spent more time at this table than we probably should have. I think Councillor Dale will remember, and probably you, Ed, many moons ago, we used to have earmarked reserves for all big projects. So, and each year, if it wasn't spent, we would then add to it the next year. So everyone could see exactly what was in those pots of money. I don't know if that's something that Michelle would like maybe to look into. It's
We
like
do
not
still
necessary.
have those. We do still have earmarked reserves.
Oh, Gina got rid of most of them, I thought.
Not
Well
that
done
I'm
for
aware
putting-
of.
Well done for
What-
putting them back.
Earmarked reserves.
Yes,
We've still got quite a few.
Well, again, I think the whole budgetary issue is, while it's a good training session for all of us as a council to understand how it works, where it's from, and you know, following that, you know, get agreement, because some of us know, some of us don't know, And you get proposals like we're going to get later, and it's like, well, does it work? Doesn't it work? So the more we're informed, the better. So can I suggest, let me and Deputy and anyone else that wants to be involved in it, I'm not excluding anyone, talk to town clerk, just dissecting the budget and trying to make it simple. Because you look at these lines, and unless you're an accountant, it can be a complete disaster. So, sorry. Mr. Dale, did you? Have you hanged up?
No.
What you did? Got your glasses.
You're just waking me up.
No,
I didn't. Sorry, Ed.
Yeah, just on that, very good point about training, that's well needed, but also I think that looking forward with projects, I think it's important that we have a forward planning for the budget as well, so that everyone's aware of it, so we can actually go forward without hesitation or interruption. So we agree what the projects are, we know we have the money, then we can do the projects rather than the other way around.
And I think that's a dialogue with Breckland as well in terms of new housing, because obviously new housing brings income, not only for the district, but for the town council. It's that projection, it's not guaranteed by any shape, way, or means, but at least it gives you some kind of pipeline view. That's where we go.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I don't want to be rude, but I am just mindful that we've got quite a long agenda tonight, and we might be digressing slightly. What might be a better solution is obviously at the end, we've got item 20, items for including in the next agenda.
Okay.
And while there is already some outlines there, maybe something like training requirements could be added to the next agenda so that we could debate fully how best to progress with those rather than think about them.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And I was going to bring something up in terms of training generally. But in terms of this particular item, income and expenditure, it is for information. We don't need to make a decision, but I think it's important we all have better understanding of it. And again, thanks to town clerk and staff for keeping this monitored and bringing that information. So the asset register. Again, this was something, from my experience, it was very difficult to get hold of. What, as a council, do we own? What's our assets? What's our liability? And it's going to be ever increasing as the town grows. So, again, it's probably difficult for anyone to make a decision on this, but that's what it is at the moment. I think again, we need to be a bit more smarter. That's not sorry. Just another shape, way, form, but in terms of assets, not only what we've got, but can we gain more assets? That is of value to the town and value to the community, so be a bit more business minded.
Yeah. So I was just going to say, it's a good bit of work because we've been chasing it for a long, long time. It's really, really useful bit of work, and it's taken a long, long while. It's really hard work.
Yeah, and again, thank you, town clerk, and everyone for doing that, because this is the basis. And again, strategically, how do we move forward as a town and be a bit more business? So, Councillor Taylor.
I was just going to propose approval and acceptance.
Anyone second? Yeah, Councillor McKinney, thank you very much. Vote. Sorry, beg your pardon. Don't take anything for granted. Insurance schedule.
I'll just comment on this.
Yeah, please.
With the insurance schedule, it's just unfortunate that we review these now, but actually renews in June. So there'll be another one next month. So just to make you aware, it's just the timing of it.
Right. So are you saying we vote on this now? Yeah.
Basically, yeah. Just to make you aware why it's coming up twice. So it's a 3-year schedule that it expires next month.
If I could just, the reason it's in the agenda is because it's part of our standing orders and meeting protocol, and the annual meeting has to be in there.
Right. So anyone got any questions? If not, you can come back in 3 months and
Do it again.
ask a question? If not, would anyone like to propose? Mr. Leslie, thank you very much. Seconder. Councillor Dale. I'll quick vote on that, please. Thank you very much. Brilliant. Subscriptions. Again, an update on what we do. Anyone got any? Sorry, I'm just scrolling through pages and pages of insurance. Anyone got any comments or queries? If not, would someone like to propose acceptance? Councillor Cullen, thank you. And Councillor Dale. We have a vote on that, please. Well, thank you very much. Okay, thanks. So correspondence. First one is practical extra play equipment. Have we read this?
Yep.
Open it to the floor.
Sorry, I was just going to say, we've got an action on June, we've got 46,000 S106 money that we were going to put forward proposals for play area improvements. So I will include that in what we've come back with, if you'd like to have that looked at.
Councillors? Councillor Taylor, then Councillor Murphy.
Yeah, I fully support that, but in the meantime, can a response be made to this
Yeah, of
resident to
course,
make
yeah.
them aware
That we are
that we are
looking
looking at it next month and that, you know, they'll get a response in due course.
Yeah.
The ladies asked for specific equipment. Is that something that would come within our purview, or is that something that we wouldn't consider health and safety wise, or?
So my view was to look at the conversations we've had in council and to look at the correspondence we've had from members of the public and bring forward several options, and it's for councillors to decide which way you'd like to go with that, really.
I was just going to say, ordinarily this would go to the environmental committee, and they'd do the legwork, as it were, to bring it back to council consideration. So, in my yes, let them know that we're going to be handing it to the environmental committee for review and take into consideration this, but also funds are available there for additional things. That's the Environment Council.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Phil, it's already been to environment. And it was going to get sent to full council. If there's now more work and you want to pass a motion to pass it back to environment, we can do that.
First of all, Councillor Susan.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think obviously the request for the play equipment is on Loma Park, I believe. I've actually seen the lady actually pushing her goal out, and the health and safety. I think we should definitely be looking at that because it can actually topple over. So I think we should be looking at that. And the gentleman said also for extra facilities for younger children. I think that would come with that as well.
Okay. No, thank you. I mean, my personal point of view is, first of all, it's good that there's money there, and you know the members of the community has identified some things. It's opening it up to a wider consultation, and this is not to delay things, but it's like if there's somebody there, here's a play area, and to try and involve the community. And you know, the strategy of the council over the last 3 years as it's got to be community led. That's not to dismiss these suggestions, but it's back to how do you involve, you know, younger generation. And I've got some views, and I'll talk about them at the end of the meeting of how we can do that, but being more community open and involving people without it getting totally over complex and taking ages, but rather than just almost like a knee-jerk reaction, that's a good idea, let's pay for it. You know, what's the best thing we can do and include people and include youth that are going to use it, you know, like skate, for instance, and London Road, which we did. So yes, let's move on this quickly, but let's think about how we do these things in the future. Some kind of, you know, framework and, you know, I was going to say policy, but as a planner, I don't want to say that. But, you know, what's best practice of involving the community, giving them some ownership. And go through that. So, yeah, Councillor McKinnon.
Yeah, no, very similar to what Councillor De Souza said. I do have concerns about, from a health and safety point of view, people taking their own equipment down to the play area.
Yeah.
Unless they are supervising it and taking responsibility for any mishaps, accidents, injuries, it's not something we can encourage.
No.
I was actually there 2 weeks ago playing with the kids. I live on that estate, and I was there for 2 hours. And yeah, I just think if we could look at that, it would obviously put some facilities up on London Road, and it was a really good time actually that kids had there.
Councillor Taylor.
I was just going to say, obviously, if we are going to bring this back to another committee, we could file it round tonight if you want. I do note the members' concerns about health and safety. We do need to be mindful though that people take cricket bats and balls down and play with them themselves and could be a health and safety risk. So we do need to look at it logically, responsibly, and with some common sense. And I look forward to seeing it on another agenda.
Thank you. So, what we're saying is it's with Environment Committee at the moment.
Well, I think you need to pass it back. If you'd
Well,
like it to
I-
go back as a project to environment, we should have a motion to pass it back to environment as a project.
I don't think we can make a decision this evening, but there's quite a few questions, not problematic questions, but legitimate questions that set the scene for going forward on different areas going forward. So, yes.
If I may, can I make a proposal?
Yes, please do.
Can I please make a proposal that this is brought to the next full council meeting, not environment, because I think when we're looking at spending the scope of money that we're spending in SI6, I think it's appropriate that it comes to the full council, and obviously it's the full council that will be making that application. So can it please come to the next full council meeting, but in the interim, a response be made to the residents to make them aware that that is the process that's being taken.
I add to that. Well, I've got no problems coming back to full council, but what we're going to come back to full council with, is it still the same question, or is it going back to environment committee saying, how do we deal with play areas? How do we involve the public? How do we engage? How do we make these things happen? And then quite rightly, I think full council should make those decisions, but it's thinking through what is it we want to do, why do we want to do it, how we're going to do it, and who with. If that makes sense. So there's got to be a dialogue between now and coming back to full council with the same agenda.
Sorry, I was just going to say, if I can just explain where we're up to then, just because I'm a bit confused now. So where we were is that we've been to environment, we've discussed the fact that we had this pot of money and that we'd have some comments. Obviously, people have seen London Road, they love it. It's made other residents in other parts of the town sort of say, well, what's happening with our area, and can we have some various items? So what was going to happen was, based on the brief that we discussed, I was then going to put a series of different products and facilities of the different sites and bring those to full council for councils to make a decision on what they want to do. However, which I think is what Councillor Taylor is now saying, however, if you're thinking that we need to have a strategy and look at it differently, then I don't want to be bringing the wrong things back to council, because the kind of focus has changed on how we'd like to handle it.
This isn't a proposal, this is a talking point. If you think that at some point this is going to need consultation, I don't know, in my mind, I think it'd be sensible to have some ideas present as a talking point in the consultation, which is what Michelle is currently working on. The alternative is to throw it out to members of the public and say, look, we've got £46,000. We really don't go far, but we've got to spend on our open spaces. What are the key ticket items you would like, and what sites do you think are in the most need of some extra development?
Okay, so try and close circle. I was an environment committee, so I don't want to discuss, so I'm a bit blind. But as a starting point, if there is a proposal that you've looked at, town park, that's a starting point. That I do believe in terms of transparency and community led, we consult on that. And if everyone's happy, you know, we just go through that process, you know, rather than, I'm not suggesting starting from scratch, but.
Okay, so if I bring it to full council, the councils are happy with it, then we can consult on it.
Our councillors happy with that.
That was what I was going to.
It was the most streamlined process. Things have already happened, which, you know, I was on the environment committee, I wasn't aware. So our councillors happy with that. So
Yeah, can I make
what
that
the town-
proposal then?
Yeah,
That the
please
town
do.
clerk brings the work that
Please
she's
do.
got,
Yeah.
that she's put together, we assess that, we look, we make our like choices and then put it out to public consultation to see if the residents are happy.
So that's proposal
Yeah.
from Councillor Taylor, a second. Councillor Bond, sorry. And can I have a vote on that, please? Carried. Thank you very much. But it is a good example as we go forward, you know, things like this are going to come up, there are going to be lots of questions. How do we deal with this? You know, in terms of process to be more efficient, and not that, yeah, you know. Okay, thank you. So moving on to (10C) and first bus service.
10B.
10B, sorry, beg your pardon. Decord Common. So again, you know, council has been successful, it's secured 106, improved access down the road to the edge of Decord Common, and the next question is what happens next? I totally understand where the residents are coming from. I know in the past we've had discussions about how do we improve Decord Common in terms of a big picture, so educational facility, natural habitat, everything else. So that's part of the discussion, and we probably need to fast track that discussion with probably environment committee that need to look at that and discuss it. So yeah, that's the last bit.
Oh, they're talking about the far end of the track.
No, so that,
It's
what
I
they're
read
talking
it.
about is there
Where
is
it
a
goes to
section,
the road.
yeah,
Because the intention was that it went all the way up to the road.
yeah, it wouldn't.
Mm.
Because on the site meeting, they basically started it down from the gate, because otherwise you're going to be so much shorter on the other side. So there is a triangle area. I know where the lady means.
Yeah,
It's where it
that's what-
kind of
that's the way I read
chamfers
it.
off. Where it went up to was where it's full width and it
Yeah.
hasn't gone chamfered off it. So that's what
Can we
they're
sort
referring
it
to.
out?
Sure we can.
So
MBW.
can I suggest we? Sorry.
I was just going to say, obviously, these are correspondence and no decisions can be made. So I would propose that we put this on an agenda.
I was going to say,
for
bring it
discussion
back
and-
to,
and costing.
at the moment, environment committee, have a look at it, understand it, and come up with a solution or a recommendation. But it does bring into question also, I think, it's an opportunity time of how we take Decord Common generally forward. It's like we usually would. You know?
Yeah, which is
So something
why-
under environment committee. You know, let's have fresh discussions on them. So if we can get back to correspondence, so we'll have a look at that.
Yeah.
And get that. Okay, thank you. 10C, first bus, across to Wyndham College. So, might know this, you might not, but there are quite a number of students in Attleborough that go to Wyndham College and get the bus. There's a specific bus, 13C, that leaves Attleborough in the morning and drives into Wyndham College, drops students off and back out again, and in the evening. What First Bus are now saying, and they said due to the A11 roadworks and everything else, the timetable's kind of been obliterated. What they don't want, because of the number of students allegedly from Attleborough going to Wyndham College, they don't want to call into the college itself, but will just, as with the normal 13, stop off on Norwich Road, and the students will have to walk up there to the college. Now, the good thing is there is a footpath from Norwich Road to college as part of the agreements with the prep school. And sadly, I did the transport assessment and put that proposal in and got approved. Talking with some parents about this, the problem is, yes, there's a safe route from Norwich Road if you're being dropped off from Attleborough, but coming home, particularly in the evening, one, you've still got to cross Golf Links Road, and believe you me, I'm still dropping students, my youngest, in the morning, and you're in the 10 minutes traffic jam. But also, they've then got to cross the road to the other side to get the bus into Attleborough. And that is quite a congested, busy road. I understand why First Bus are concerned about timetables, but there are some safety issues I would suggest. So we can't do anything. We've been asked, can we make representation? With views, I'd like to open that up to Councillor Taylor and then Councillor McKinnon.
Obviously, I would reiterate your comments on Golf Links Road because I travel it daily. I think First Bus service, using the fact that the A11 roadworks is what's made them make this decision, is quite shameful, bearing in mind we're 3/4 of the way through those roadworks and they are now about, hopefully, in the next few months to come to an end. So I think that that is a poor example of an excuse. I would just, yes, it's dark in the winter, there is no street lighting, there may be a nice new footpath, however, it's only about 1/2 metre wide and there is no street lighting. So I do, although my children don't need to get public transport, I do appreciate those parents that do use it have concern.
I think I was just about going to say everything that Councillor Taylor's just said. I have 2 grandchildren there. I do the school run regularly. In the winter, it's pitch black down there. There's no lights. Yes, there's a pathway, but there's no lights. And I think if we can make any kind of representation, but I think the answer you'll get is that they're running a business, not a service. But yes, I would say that anything we can do to add representation to that.
Councillor John Taylor.
But surely this is 2 buses, one in the morning, one at night. It can't be that big a problem, surely. Where's the traffic jam coming from? It's 1 bus.
Now about the parents, and then there's the.
Councillor Taylor and then Councillor Westby.
That's Westby Hayes.
Sorry.
Thank you. I agree that it should be maintained for the sake of 2 services. It's not going to screw up the whole timetable. Being slightly controversial, I did actually catch that bus a few weeks ago, and there was not a single child got off at Wyndham College. But went all the way up there for nothing. But that's probably just a coincidence. But yeah, the other thing I was of the understanding that there was an alternative provision being made.
From Norwich.
That I don't know.
The alternative provision, as I understand it, is a bus from Norwich.
Because there is one comes from Wyndham and goes in.
Yes, yeah.
Sorry. Councillor
Yeah.
Taylor and then Councillor Lane. Sorry.
I was just going to say, on the basis that they're saying that it's the A11, that that's the path they're trying to avoid, that route actually doesn't cover the A11, does it? It actually bypasses that, so it's entirely irrelevant.
None of them go on the island apart from the express.
But I think that, while I think we're all in agreement in the comments that have been made, that representations need to be made, I think they should be made in the strongest terms, because at the end of the day, it comes down to safeguarding children, doesn't it? Which I think is of the utmost importance. So I fully support that.
Councillor Lane, then.
If I go back in time, quite a few years, there used to be a minibus run from Attleborough to Wyndham College. I suspect one of the reasons that First Bus are withdrawing this service is economically, because they are running a business. So whilst I totally agree that representation needs to be made, maybe alternatives need to be negotiated with the school. There used to be a minibus run from Attleborough, used to go Great Allingham. It was crazy because it started in Attleborough and then it used to go Great Allingham through to Hingham, through Kimberley, then to Wyndham College instead of just going straight away. But if this is going to be a long-term thing and safe passage to the school for all residents needs to be there, and if Wyndham College is in the catchment area for the school, Attleborough in the catchment area for Wyndham College, then maybe, you know, some sort of alternative needs to be looked at. If Council Westby saying there's not that many children use it, maybe that is,
Maybe just a coincidence.
yeah, but that might be an option. Because the other thing is they used to run a late bus as well. So there was the one that used to run, you know, to take you to school and to bring you home, but then they used to run another minibus that was for prep, curfew stay for prep, like they do for Pepper Brown. So.
Yeah, from memory, when I went and caught the bus to Wyndham College about 20 years ago, the bus actually went to the third exit and actually stopped outside Peel House, I believe it was. And a quick look on Google Maps says it actually does stop there. So I'm not sure why people are saying it's actually stopping on Godwin's Road.
No, the service did go into the main reception car park where the bus stop is. What they're now saying is just for the Attleborough one. So the Norwich Wyndham College is going to continue because of numbers. What they're saying is not going to do that. So you can still get the bus, but you'd have to get up at Norwich Road and walk up the Dolphins.
Right.
That's the term.
Maybe while we're making representation, it might be wise to tell first bus that they could probably save some money if during half term, when there's no children there, they didn't take the bus in there in the morning, because the bus still runs into the
And they
college,
still do it.
even
summer
through the
holidays.
6 week holidays, like through, so that could also be a reason why maybe no one got the bus, because it still runs that service even during the holidays.
Can I make a proposal that one, first of all, we write to Wyndham College to say, you know, we're concerned about this, and it's not Wyndham College's decision on this. You know, it's not their fault. It's not their hands. But to say, you know, as a community, we've got concerns about this, almost trying to engage their support of then going to first bus and saying, we've got concerns about this. The reasons are safety, everything else, and we have been in correspondence with Wyndham College. Now, Wyndham College might want to step out of it for good reasons, I understand that, but at least show willingness to engage with them, fully engage with first bus. So how you summarise that?
That's fine, I can summarise that. And am I also, if I do get to a point of going to first bus, including Councillor Taylor's comments about the fact that actually this is really a term time issue?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah. Someone like to propose that, then I'll word that appropriately.
I'm happy to, well, do you want to propose it, Mr.
I propose that we let the clerk deal with this and take our comments into consideration.
Seconder. Councillor Bond, those in favour? Okay, thank you very much. Right, okay. Conscious of time. So 10D, and kind of erred on this earlier in terms of grant applications. So we've got an application from Attleborough Boxing Club that do phenomenally well. And, you know, fantastic community group that do remarkably well. So they're asking for a sum of money, £5,000, the new minibus, or contribute to a new minibus. That's all then.
I just want to say I think they do a tremendous job, and I follow them, and they go all over the country. They must do, I dread to think how many miles they do a year. You know. So I personally would be in favour of this, because it's going to benefit them.
Okay, Councillor Ashby first.
No, just to echo Councillor Lane, they put Attleborough on the map, they go around the whole of the country. The amount of work, again, talking about volunteers, the amount of work they do is absolutely phenomenal, and we need to support them as much as we can.
Councillor Taylor and then.
No, what I was gonna say is, I think, I would hope that all of us sitting around this table are fully aware of the asset that the boxing club is to Barbara and what they do for young people, for mental health, for everything else. And that I would like to propose that we support this grant application. I think we could sit here all night and say what a brilliant job they do, we'll talk about it, but I think, again, linked to the agenda, I'm eager to, you know, push on through, and I would propose that we grant this application.
Councillor McKinnon.
I was just going to say, it goes back to the conversation we started with. We've got to do more for the older children, and I totally agree, and I would like to second that motion.
Can I just make a comment?
Please.
Totally impartially, not disagreeing with that in any shape or form, but you've got 2 large grant applications here, and you've got 2 more coming in for the next meeting, because I've already got them upstairs. So you need to think about how much money we've got to go round, and how you want to deal with that. And I don't want you to suddenly think, oh my goodness, we've got 2 more and we've run out of money. So there will be 4 in total by the end of June. 3 more, it'll be 5.
Okay, so.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I appreciate that and thank you for bringing that to our attention. I did do a little number crunch earlier and it worked out for the members to the amount of money that they're asking for. It was like £10 a member. So I thought that's really good value for money. So again, I just think for what this application is and what they do for our community and what they offer and the asset that they are, I would still support this application.
What I would like to say, thank you for bringing that up, it's back to understanding the budget of where we've got, because if we have a meeting, is a proposal, yes, approve it, and all of a sudden we're out of budget or we're getting close. It's to have that understanding of broadly what that looks like. And it's very difficult with these applications to have some kind of pipeline. It's almost first come, first served. Is that fair? Depending on what happens to whatever that community group is, what have you. I'm not saying I've got an answer to that. I don't, but we're here with an application site and a proposal. I think it's more of a moving forward. How can we best understand this, best manage it? Not, okay, we have an issue, let's start it now. That's unfair. We don't have that set up. But I think what you've rightly raised is something for us to think forward. How do we do these things?
Well, it's my job to let you know where you are.
Yeah, it's back to that. It's back to that budget.
I agree with everything you said, Councillor Tyler. I would ask then that with that in mind, that we have an agenda item and the clerk brings us a proposed budget to like the council on what is spare and available for these grant funding applications. It's obviously going in blind and just saying yes and then being told halfway through that, next month we might be a little short. It is difficult for us then to make these decisions. It's a stumbling block. So if we could look at our figures, let's get a budget proposal together for members to vote on, and then it will have to be first come, first served.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Totally agree with it. 2 seconds. Sorry. Look.
I wouldn't say it'd be first come, first served if we get a process in place where we have grants in at a certain time, and then we can choose what we're going to do. It doesn't have to be first come, first served. But at the moment, that's the situation we're in.
It's where we're at. So I think there's 2 separate things. One, what we've got on the agenda, and then Councillor Taylor in terms of your proposal. I think that comes back into the wider budget, understanding what have you. I think we can wrap that up in there. But we've got this request. We need to make a decision.
That there is an alternative proposal that could be presented as well as the original proposal. That is, you could defer it until that budget is presented at the next council meeting. So the grant applications, because you'll have all 5 together at the same meeting, you'll have an idea of the budget of what you're doing, and you can make an informed decision at that point. That might give us a bit more balance on this occasion. Saying that, I support the boxing club anyway, so I'm trying to be fair and balanced.
Absolutely. Councillor Taylor and then.
Yeah, I was just going to say, in regards to the second application, I don't think that'd be prudent because their planned event is for June. So that would then, I think they're already short on time and need to know where they stand in regards to this money. I do think it is sensible to have the figures presented to us going forward so we can see what is available to allocate. I think it's unfortunate that we don't have it in this instance. But I think if in our hearts we know that this is a good use of that public money, then we should just take.
So, councillors, two school of thoughts. Either we defer this until we have a better understanding of that how these things fit in the budget with what we're aware of or what's likely to come in. But then again, there's still things that can come in after that anyway. Or we make a decision on this now. Thoughts?
No, I was just going to say.
Sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to say, we looking at these requests, it doesn't mean to say, and I'm not saying anything about the boxing club, I'm saying about all requests, it doesn't mean to say we have to give them the 5,000 if we feel after a while the money would be better spent splitting it up into smaller groups, depending on the situation, the requirement of like the boxing club need a minibus. Somebody else might not need something as big as that. So, we might say, well, yes, the maximum is £5,000, but at this request we'll give you 2,500 or 3,000, which, doesn't automatically mean if you apply for 5,000, you're going to get it, depending on the actual request and what it's going to be used for. So we could spread the money out further.
And the grant policy does like that.
Yes, I was just clarifying it for me.
Yeah, so it is in there.
It is
for
yes.
people to fill them out to know that they're not.
So they don't have to have 5. So it might make it go a bit further. Can I?
Absolutely.
Our next meeting quite soon, isn't it? 2 weeks.
It might not be. We've got an agenda item for that, haven't we? The meetings. It might be 3 weeks.
I'm just mindful that what everyone's saying, that maybe we should make a prudent decision on any grant, large grants, I think, or any grants at the moment when we don't know our actual budget.
Well, I can tell you that if you want to know. So essentially, there's only £5,000 for grants in the budget, which would have been adequate if we were only given the small grants. When we did the budget, we weren't doing these large grants of up to £5,000. So if the council would like to increase the grants budget, then you've got 2 options. You either put the precept up to cover it, or you take it from reserves. And at the point we're in the year now, you'd have to take it out of general reserves. So you can choose to increase it.
So on, okay, well, thanks very much for that information. So on that basis, I would find it difficult how there's £5,000 budget for grants. You've got another application coming up after this.
Yeah. That was just a small grant, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, because we didn't have
the large
grant.
Right.
It was just grant.
Yeah.
But if you are saying there's more coming in,
it's going to have to be addressed if you want to look at them.
I would suggest, if councillors are happy with this, that we defer this. Because there is a wider discussion of, again, trying to support the community and what have you. If you're aware someone coming in the pipeline, then we need a wider discussion of, do we keep it to £5,000 budget? Or do we increase it? Where is that coming from? And are we happy? Now, that's not to say we don't support this. I think we all do. No doubt about it whatsoever. But we've kind of been a bit of a finger in the air situation, I would suggest. So, Councillor Taylor, and then.
I'm very mindful that we are penalising 2 organisations because we haven't got our eggs in a row, or our ducks, or however the saying goes. Also, Councillor Taylor has raised an issue that one of them is time sensitive. I don't think it's fair that these clubs and groups are penalised because we can't make that decision tonight if one of them is time sensitive, which I actually have.
The first question I was gonna ask is, how much is in our reserves, how much do we still have in our reserves?
Oh, lots and lots. It's not an issue. You want to take it out of reserves.
And then the second thing I was gonna say is, on the basis that these are what we've got in front of us tonight, one is time sensitive, one I personally feel is a very good use of taxpayers' money. I do think that we have a obligation to support our community, and I think that this would be a very good way of demonstrating that. Any other applications that are made, we can review our budget and we can transfer from our general reserves into an allocated pot for grants awards going forward. But I think that tonight it would be prudent to make a decision for this application, and I would just reiterate my proposal that we award this one.
Okay, so, sorry, before we vote on that.
Yeah, can I just suggest that we do, well, I second the proposal that we accept the bids that we've currently got, and we set an agenda item to agree a revised budget for the grants, given that we've got some money in reserve.
Okay. So, sorry,
No, I was just going to say, can I just point out for clarity, wasn't a question that we didn't have the ducks in the row, if you like. The grants policy was made
I
after
understood
the,
that.
after the
But I-
budget was
But
done.
tonight, we do not have our ducks in a row, and that would penalise those groups if we didn't make that decision. And I just think that you had one proposal to do it tonight, and the second proposal from councillor Westby that needs a seconder.
well,
I think that
I
was
think he was agreed.
Yeah.
So, proposal put forward by councillor Taylor, supported by councillor Westby, that you then added on, we do need to understand
Yeah.
the wider budget, which I think we all agree.
Yeah.
Wider budget on everything, not just this.
Because the politics
But
change.
you can,
So,
you can choose, obviously, to go over budget on grants and it will
Yeah.
come from reserves, but I still think at some point you're going to have to set a limit,
Yeah,
otherwise where does it
budget.
end?
My thought was £5,000 per month or per 2 months, and set the budget on that basis.
well, I think let's keep
Let's
that
put that on the
a
agenda.
separate agenda.
Yeah, whatever figure it might
Back
be.
to budget, do we understand the budget, how does it work, and everything else, but where we are now, just trying to close this one out.
Yeah.
This application's come in, it's £5,000 with deposit on a minibus. Proposal is to accept it. Second
Yep.
by councillor Westby. Can we please have a vote?
Yes.
And so, majority. Yeah. So, approved.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. So the second grant application is that for a fire station. This is for
999.
999.
Yeah.
There is on this one, as councillor Taylor pointed out, it's time sensitive. Any comments?
So basically, I've added this up, so they're asking us to pay for the whole thing. Is that right? I've misunderstood this. The approximate breakdown of costs comes in at 999. Yeah.
Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, can I just make a proposal that we grant the application?
Okay. Councillor Lane, was that a query or?
Yeah,
was it just clarification?
I just want clarification.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, both by councillor Taylor, you accept this? Is there a seconder? Councillor Lane, thank you. And we have a vote. Okay. Thank you very much. Too late, Mr. Bell.
No, that's why I should have.
Okay. Yeah. Right, thank you very much. Right, swiftly moving on. Thank you, councillor Taylor, for leaving the room. well, not thanks for leaving the room, appropriately leaving the room. So committee terms of reference for the coming year. Now, hopefully you've read these. They are dull, they are very boring. However, they are important, and as councillors, we do have a duty to read them and understand them, because we are representing the town. So, comments first. So, Councillor Nairn, Councillor Taylor, sorry.
Can I just bring to everyone's attention that all of the committees should provide a report, the chairman of each committee should provide a report to the full council, at least once a year, some of them are more than that.
Yeah.
And I think for those that aren't on the committees, that's a really helpful thing, if a report is provided, also for the public as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was gonna make the recommendation that all of the terms of reference are accepted on block, with a amendment to the Jubilee Woodland Committee under the membership that it is at least 5 members. So if more than 5 members want to put themselves forward to it, they could. But I would propose the acceptance of all of the terms of reference with that amendment to that one.
Could I,
And I'll second that.
Could I make an amendment to that proposal? And that is, as here, it says a recommendation for the elimination committee to be dissolved. If that could be dissolved as well, as per the papers.
Okay. Can I be controversial? And throw something in, not the decision tonight, but I think the makeup of committees we've got at the moment, I think is worthy of further discussion. What they are, how they work. That's my personal point of view, so I'd like to put it on the agenda. Going forward, well, are they the appropriate committees? So, for example, you know, we are community minded. I think as soon as you say you've got Woodland Committee and Events Committee and what have you, the community feel excluded. I'd rather have a working group that then reports to the town council. So that inverted commas committee is made up of anyone that wants to be involved in that particular area, not a town council committee. That's my view. I'm not asking for a decision on that tonight, but I'd like to discuss it further, and I'm not questioning these committees tonight. This is what we've got on the agenda. Let's vote on that. But I would like to open it up going forward with wider discussion. That's my personal point of view. I've got no power over this and the shape way forward. It's more of an open discussion.
I did read them this afternoon, I told you very so. And I think a lot of the makeup of the committees does have the facility to include other people. It's just that they would not have voting rights.
Well, yes, the same thing.
Yeah.
So just on this agenda item, on block, I'm happy to do that if people are happy. Proposal for acceptance.
I was going to say, I propose the acceptance and the amendment.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
Right, okay, thank you.
The two amendments, Taylor's amendment and Phil's.
And Phil's, yeah.
Yeah. So can we,
Second.
Councillor Dale, second. Should we repeat what the two amendments were?
Yeah, so I have got councillor Taylor saying to accept on block with a change to the Jubilee Wood Committee to make it at least 5 members, and then councillor Lovely amendments to that to dissolve the elimination committee.
Okay, that's clear. So we're all clear what's voting on? Yeah. So.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Okay, great, thanks. Okay, the exciting bit. Not that it's not being exciting. Item 12, committee members for forthcoming year. So what this is people who want to go on those committees. Once those people are on there, whoever's chair or vice chair or what have you is sorted out once that committee is first meeting. So, Environment Committee.
Can I just?
Yeah,
The Environment Committee has a lot of people who would want to be on it. Usually, if people just indicate if they want to be part of it, perhaps we can do it on block as an approval. But that might be a more sensible approach to larger committees, but as you see fit, Chair.
I really don't know the quickest way of doing it.
I think that is really.
Okay. Who doesn't want to be on?
Which committee are we on about
Yeah.
now?
I think it's
the environment, so someone else can pass.
Who would like to be in
Well, it's not
environment?
easy to say who's.
Sorry.
Environment Committee, who would like to be on the Environment Committee?
Right, can you just all put your hands up for a minute, please?
Taylor, Councillor Warren.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you. Events and communications.
Maybe that needed to stop with rather than
Yeah,
usually
it's-
5
it's-
members. Thank you.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so. No? Perhaps it's.
Can I, if no one's interested in doing that, can I just recommend it?
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
Make that
say,
proposal.
it's back into.
Is there a second?
No, I'm not
Councillor
saying that. Can I
Ashford.
just-
Sorry, beg your pardon.
My understanding is one of the key activities of the town council is events. So why does nobody want to be on the events committee? But that's the primary reason as to why we exist.
My suggestion, I totally agree with you. I mean, the town council is there to facilitate events, community activities, and everything else.
So it's going to be dissolved. where's it
But-
going?
Well,
Call back.
what I was going to suggest, which is why I'd like to put it on the next agenda, is how we look at these, and rather than it being a town council committee, we have, I hate the word and the term working group, but we talk to, other community groups that do stuff and say, collectively, can we come together? What do you want to do? What's your programme? What do you need? What can the town council do? That reports to the town council saying, we're doing this event, we'd like this, we'd like this support, A, B, C, D, F. So it's actually driven, and town councillors can be on that working group. But it's more open, it's more transparent. And it's more inclusive, rather than saying it's a town council committee. So I totally agree, yes, we are there to support and promote and everything else. If no one wishes to have a town council environment committee, then so be it, but let's find what the alternative is to encourage it. Suggestion. What's the term?
Well, if there is still an appetite for, facilitating this, maybe defer it until there's been some community engagement.
Yeah.
Is that a sensible solution?
So, sorry, just to be completely transparent. So what you're saying is that the people on the events committee before got fed up with how it was going, how it was being run, how it was
no, we
received.
got
No.
fed up with the
No.
negativity
No.
shown by fellow councillors who didn't want to take part in anything.
Right, but this is
Yes.
a new council
Yeah.
with a bit of
Yeah.
fresh impetus.
But there's a new council, new people, so if they think they can take this forward, then they're welcome to. I'm too old to hunt books anymore.
Well, let's go what's on the agenda. So environment, events and communications committee, does anyone want to come on to it? The answer is no.
So we've got two proposals from councillor Taylor, we either dissolve or we defer. What would you like to do?
Well-
Was there a second at the round?
I'll second to defer.
Okay, we want to vote on that, please?
Defer.
Okay, majority. Right, standing order review committee. Councillor Taylor, Councillor Leslie.
Oh, no, this
No,
is for members.
no,
This is
oh,
for
sorry.
members. So this is the nominations for membership, who would like to be
Yes, sorry,
a
but,
member.
yeah,
So we have myself, councillor Leslie, councillor S. Taylor, and councillor Leslie.
Sorry, I've got four there, is that right?
And ordinary would also use.
Yes.
okay, thank you very much. Jubilee Woodland Committee. Who would like to be in that?
Well, I would, but, you know, that's the.
Then again, so the Jubilee Woodland, I can see that because of the scope of the project, that it would need its own driving force outside of the Environment Committee. But because of the nature of it, in my mind, I again think that actually being driven by the community as a working group that works under the Environment Committee would be a more sensible solution than a committee in its own right that then requires all the formalities that a committee requires, which is obviously the town clerk's presence and minute taking and everything else, rather than just someone feeding into a committee where they make recommendations for acceptance or approval.
Could it be a subset of the environment group?
Well, it could be a subcommittee, but I just think the working group has a little bit more flexibility and freedom.
I would prefer to engage in that level.
Yeah.
Even as a councillor, I prefer to
Same.
engage. Honest, I think Roger and I, we did that first with the neighbourhood
We
plan,
did,
didn't we? Yeah,
we did.
we did, so.
And the other thing is, Chair, that the idea of design and the committee by design, or design by committee, you know, you end up with a candidate.
Yeah. So, I mean, personally, I'm more, you know, enamoured by be it a working group or whatever, but it's, you invite the community onto that and they then report to the town council. Not that we have much powers, but, you know, it's that bottom up, which we always wanted to do with neighbourhood plan. Didn't quite work.
I'm very happy to propose that we defer it to the meeting as part of your conversation on working groups and committees. So that can be revisited there. So it's lumped into the same conversation, so it doesn't go on too long.
So just trying to close this one out, Jubilee Woodland Committee.
Yeah, as I said,
Are we saying,
I'm happy to propose that goes into your conversation about working groups going forward.
okay, which we'll bring back to the next agenda.
Defer to the next. Yeah.
Yeah, I second that. I second that.
Roger, yeah.
Councillor Bond, thank you. And a vote on that? Thank you very much. Can I just emphasise by saying, if it's no longer a committee, it does not mean town councillors cannot be on it or involved in it. Yeah. You're not excluded. It's just a different setup and you know, it gives the community more ownership. 12B Illumination Committee, I think. We'll agree with that. And finally, Personnel Committee.
It's got to be free.
Because of the way this confidentiality works on that. Before we go too much further, may I propose that members of this committee, of the personnel committee, shouldn't be friends with staff or shouldn't be associating with them outside of the town council's remit.
Why?
I think that's because that takes away impartiality.
Could I just raise a point of order here?
in that if we're talking impartiality, then people who put themselves forward to be on personnel have displayed rank objectivity to officers and staff currently on the town council. So I fail to see how they could be impartial on a personnel committee. My opinion.
Okay. So there's certainly a division of views. I can understand the concept of each one. I don't think we're going to resolve it tonight. I'd certainly like to go in and delve in a bit more detail as to the rules and regulations, let's say. So I don't want to get into an exchange of discussion tonight. I don't think it's helpful for new council to do that. But I would like, if you're happy, to discuss it with Brecland, get a view, and with the town clerk, we'll bring this one back to the next council meeting. I don't think we're going to get a resolution tonight.
I think you're probably quite wise to seek further advice. I think the problem is there are members that are sat here that obviously know the mess and complications that arose 4 years ago. I'm sure there's members of the public that remember it as well. It's not gone away, and obviously affiliations, personal affiliations outside of the chamber did fuel, instigate and somewhat blur those lines a little bit. I have no interest on being on the personnel committee. I don't want to be near it in any way, shape or form, which is why I didn't put my hand up. But I understand why other members do have that concern.
So
Would you like to name the members that you think are friendly with the clerk?
Can I ask
Do
councillors?
that, Councillor Dow, because I know you are.
I'm not.
Sorry,
I've done
excuse
one
me.
thing for the clerk.
Excuse me. Can I ask councillors, if you're happy, I'm happy to go away and get some clarification so we can deal with facts about what can and what can't be done, what's conflicts of interest, what isn't, and then we can make an informed decision rather than working on personal views or what have you, which is good. You know, we've all got personal views and that's good for discussion. But on something like this, I don't think we're going to get anywhere with the debate tonight. So let's defer it. I don't think there's anything urgent coming up on personnel committee, is there?
No, not other than some recruitment positions, but they can wait. But
Okay, but so what I'd like to ask you, I'm happy to go away and discuss this and come back with something with, you know, this is the framework, this is what you can and can't do in terms of conflicts of interest, what you can't do, and then we have an informed debate.
Cass, could I
If
just
that's
ask
okay.
what you do in the interim period in case there is a situation arises that does need the attention of a personnel committee? If you're saying that the old committee is no longer in place, then you're going to go away and.
Well, I don't think the personnel committee will meet before the next full council meeting.
So if there was an
if
issue,
there's an issue,
if there's an issue,
Well,
would you go to you as chair? Or?
well, it will come back to you. The personnel committee is not going to meet until next week.
no, but if there was something, would they come to you?
Well, I presume so.
I suppose that we need to give you that.
I mean,
delegation authority.
if something happens tomorrow,
Okay, so
if something happens tomorrow, then yeah, but I'm not trying to.
no,
put
I
things
was just,
in the wrong
I'm
grass.
just looking after thinking about
No,
what to do.
There needs to be something. So.
On the technicality, until the new chair, until a new chair is elected, the existing chair committee will be in place.
Okay.
Yeah.
that's
And the
clear.
existing personnel committee would stay in
I
place.
can suggest that might be okay.
Okay, well done.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry, Chair, just for the record, I'm being on the old or existing personnel committee as deputy, going on to those. I saw nothing but professionalism at those committee meetings. So I'd like that put in the record. There's no favouritism, done in a very professional way, those committees. I'm sure other people who were there.
No way to do it.
I don't think anyone was questioning the integrity of the committee in the meetings.
Well, that's good. I just thought I'd make that clear.
Okay, no, thank you very much. So we've got a way forward on that, if the councillors are happy. Thank you very much.
Can I just say something, because
Yeah,
I'm
please
not
do.
happy. I'm really not happy. Anything that's just been said about relationships with staff and councillors are based on assumption. I'm not friends with any of these councillors. I don't socialise with them outside of work. The most I've done is if we've had a meeting and two councillors have done this, Councillor Dale and Councillor Debbie have said, would you like to have a coffee after? Are you telling me that if I am invited by any councillor to have a coffee, that is seen as me not being able to use my integrity in meetings?
I don't think anyone's suggesting that.
Well,
I'm not suggesting, I understand.
because we're
It's-
supposed to
it-
be one
yeah,
big team,
I get
and we're
that.
not allowed to have coffee with people. I need to understand this.
Okay, but which is why I'm suggesting, let's defer this one. Let me understand what's conflicts of interest and all. It's not a do you, it's about us as councillors, what are relationships and everything else. So there's nothing aimed at you and shape by calling this, please.
Well, it is, because it's suggesting that it's an inappropriate relationship if I have a coffee with a councillor, because I'm not friends.
Can I
I'm
just
just.
Okay, can I?
This is a conversation not for a
Yeah.
public forum. It
Yeah.
doesn't present the
Let's
council
close
as
this
a
one down.
professional.
I think it is.
We've agreed, excuse me, we've agreed to defer this because there is a perhaps misconception about what's conflict of interest or not. That is the substantive question. I don't know what it is. I think a lot of us don't as well, which is why I've suggested recheck, talk with Breckland about what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, councillors, and then we can have an informed discussion. That's all it is. There's been no finger pointing or anything, but some questions have been raised that need to be answered. I can't answer those, I'm sure none of you can as well, totally informed. So let's just do a bit of homework and come back and we'll have a further discussion about it. I'm going to move on, if that's okay. Item 14.
What I was actually going to suggest is obviously that, you know, a proposal was made to defer that item to the next appropriate meeting. And that the proposals that were made for committee membership for the other committees, which was environment, the ones that we had shown hands for, who would like to be on that committee, which was environment, standing order review, and actually they're the only two that are accepted. So that we've actually voted to accept them, just have to show hands for who would like to participate in these.
I thought we did agree.
I thought we just had to show hands, but if it's
Yeah.
okay with the.
Well, we have proposal second.
So the appointments to those committees, I don't think we have, I think we
No, I
just
don't
showed our hands.
I do not.
Yeah, just interesting.
But
Oh,
if
okay,
we're gonna
beg
take
your
them on
okay,
bulk,
beg your
then
pardon, so,
we
okay.
should, so to take it on bulk,
No, thank you very much.
it
for
would
that,
be
so-
to appoint the members that had shown an interest in the environment committee, to defer against communications, to appoint those that had put themselves forward for the standing order review committee, to defer Jubilee Woodland, obviously the dissolve, like the illumination committee's been dissolved, and then to defer the personal membership would be the proposal.
Second,
So,
Councillor Sousa, vote on that. Okay, majority. Thank you. So, item 13, meeting schedule for,
I was propose it with an amendment. I was just getting ahead of myself, sorry.
you voted.
No, I mean for the next one.
Oh, right, sorry, beg your pardon.
Yeah, I think that you're just going on to.
Schedule next meetings or meetings over the next year. Agree? Well, not agree, proposal.
Yeah, I was going to propose that with the amendment, obviously, to remove the events committee.
Well, but they may well change.
Can we also, I think the clerk mentioned about in 2 or 3 weeks for the first.
It's just that I'm not available, I'm not here on Monday the 5th of June.
Okay.
So apart from that change, but things can change anyway. you know, but this is.
That doesn't mean you can't hold meeting, it just means
No, no,
obviously I
no,
won't
no,
be
no,
here.
no, it's not. So, can someone oppose acceptance? Councillor Sousa, Councillor Ashby, second vote. Thank you very much. Even more fun. Right, representatives for outside bodies.
And we shall have. So I was just going to say, some of these on this list are actually a little bit outdated, so you might find as you go through that we don't need to appoint for all of them.
I was going to say, right, let's just run through them quickly. Let's try and run through this. So, Asper Healthcare and Wellbeing Trust. Councillor Bond. Thank you. Asper Charities. Councillor Dow. Asper Heritage Group. Fun and Poultry.
We disbanded.
Sorry, the liaison is.
Yeah,
being
yes.
resurrected.
Has it been resurrected?
It's gonna be, it hasn't met again yet, but it's gonna be.
I was going to say, I got an
I'm
email
gonna
to
sit
say
on
it
there,
was,
have a hat.
yeah,
I'm happy to sit on there too.
I normally sit on there, but I've got an email to say that they're not opening it up again.
Oh,
No, from a lady.
when?
So I'll speak to you, but that's.
Yeah, okay, they are.
Okay,
Yeah.
so twins to you.
Yeah.
Well, both of you.
I normally sit on that as a resident, and Tristan sits on it as a Brecon district councillor, normally.
I sit on the district council as well, so,
Oh, three.
but no, that's why I would put myself forward as a town council, because I think we're already at it, and I just think it would be nice to have the extra representation. from
Oh,
town
yeah,
council,
sure,
maybe.
okay, I'll just.
Okay, so-
Gonna be
That was
excited enough to
the-
go on.
So, are we agreed, Councillor Dale,
Dale.
if you're represented from district, is that correct? Okay, great stuff. Gypsy and Travellers Strategy,
That was one that was,
that's
dismissed last year.
dismissed, yeah.
Yeah, so was the community emergency coordinator, so was Connaught Hall.
So, Community Emergency Coordinator, Connaught Hall, no longer, yeah. IDB, Mr Westby.
I'll continue with Poison Chillers.
Letterton Circuit Liaison Group,
That was
I
Scott
think that
last
one
year
was
as well.
dismissed.
That's
so,
right? Snap,
I would quite like to do that.
I don't want to do that.
There has been two in the past.
okay, yeah. I don't mind if other councillors don't mind, as long as it's not like 20 of us on
But it's open to anybody, so.
Yeah,
It's
it's
open
a
forum,
public
yeah.
forum.
It's open forum.
there. Press and Media,
I think that was.
Stopped because of the policy now.
yeah. Town Archives,
That was-
That was-
And football.
and Football Club. Okay, we're all happy with that.
I'm happy to propose as we said.
Right. Okay, seconder, Councillor Westby, vote. Thank you. Well, long list, isn't it? Annual review of documents.
Can I
Yeah, please.
make a comment on these? Would it be possible for us to have a rolling programme of reviews? I know a lot of them have been reviewed, in the last couple of years, but I think it would be good if we could have an actual, something that we can look at either on the website or something, just so that we know when they're coming up for review, for those people that aren't on the annual review things.
Good point.
We could include that as part of the report.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way of doing it.
And the recommendation that I was going to make is that they are accepted on bulk as there isn't any amendments that have been.
I was going to say, yeah, Councillor Dickinson.
As I said, Sado sat and read them this afternoon. The one that we've just done a revision on is the financial regulations. What I couldn't see on there is anything that had a review date that said this was revised on such and such a date. Do you have a separate sheet or something that you keep a note of? So normally,
Revisions.
if we review them, it goes in the footer at the bottom, but they were due to be reviewed now anyway. We
Yeah.
only did that in April, didn't
Yeah.
we? So they'll
No, it's
fall in
just-
with the May review.
There was
date.
nothing on there that had a review date.
Yeah.
And I know we only did it at the last meeting. So, and sorry, the other thing I noticed on the health and safety policy, on the list of item headings, 2.1 is listed as Attenborough Town Council.
So the health and safety policy, I had a conversation with Councillor Leslie last week before I put this in. This is a historic policy that I just think we need to look at. I don't really think it's fit for purpose.
Right, but for the time being, as I say, it does say Attenborough, not
Yeah.
Attenborough. And 2.2 specifies Councillor Leslie by name as
Yeah.
mayor, which obviously needs to be changed now
Yeah.
to Councillor Tyra. Sorry. that's it, that's
It
the one.
doesn't have to.
Yes,
Yeah, it does.
Happy to propose the amendments, and in accordance with Taylor's original proposal.
Okay, thank you.
Can
Sorry,
I
Councillor
don't
Bolt.
know how this goes with amendments and proposing the rest of it. I agree with that, but also can we have, as councillor Lane suggested, a rolling review in dates so that we can actually pick them up and it's not so daunting, so that there is a rolling review in some way.
I mean, I was going to suggest
I think that's
It's big.
just operational.
almost like an Excel spreadsheet of, we've got those and
Mhm.
when they're being done, and when they come up and it's almost like a rag. Red, amber, green. Sorry, that's very dull and boring. So
Yeah, no, that's fine.
it might help. So I won't put that as an amendment, Councillor Bond, but I think it's,
That is
it is good practice.
Right.
And I'm sure we'll get that over in terms of what's been
Amended and ready to go.
proposed and amended. If you can remember what it was.
Yeah.
I've written it down. The revision
Sorry.
dates, and then 2.1 that says Attenborough Town Council instead of Attleborough, and 2.2 is the name change on the health and safety, those on the health and safety policy.
Yeah.
So including that, can we have a vote in acceptance? Thank you all very much. Okay, item 16, Grosvenor Park tennis courts. I didn't see this in my pack. Repeated vandalism.
Yeah, we've had
Just
it
verbal.
on, we've had to close it,
Right.
which is really unfortunate because it's
Yeah.
quite popular. I've lost count of the amount of locks we've replaced in the last couple of months. They're super gluing the locks. It's constant. They are now, they've only this week, they've actually now cut right through the wire to get in. What we've done in the past is we've obviously always replaced the locks. We talked about leaving it open until we sort the lock issue out. But the problem with leaving it open is they will, and someone now has vandalised the net as well. So I don't know what the way forward is with it. But people want to use it, and it's a shame that they can't at the moment.
Do we have, sorry,
No.
beg your pardon, do we have CCTV then? Is that something we need to look at?
Have these instances been reported to the police?
Probably not.
That would be my first, because once there's a log, they can it be raised at the next snap meeting for them to have patrols and stuff around there?
So yeah, so I fully endorse the recommendation that is the next staff meeting, and ask to be set as a priority area for site visits from the police. What might be a solution, I mean, like I said, it's a really difficult position. There's probably no right or wrong solution. And I know it's probably not feasible, but if it is a facility that the community wants and that a majority of people do respect, and it's only a small minority that are ruining it for everybody, would it be feasible for either a member of staff, a caretaker or a grounds person to put the net out in the morning and then at the end of their shift, at the end of the day, take it down? So that it can be used, but then it's left open. Not really, because it's quite often used in the evenings, now it's summer and at the weekends. Otherwise, that would
if I could just leave the gates open and think that the net will stay in place, I mean, we could try that. They might not bother to vandalise the net if it's left open, but it's that weekend issue, which is when it's getting most of its use.
Can I ask a question? Is it worth contacting other councils that got a facility such as this and say, how do I find the list of what was it? How did you get over it? Now, I'm not saying they'll come up with answers, but it's just trying to explore. And I think, but it comes back to this community values, doesn't it? And community friendship, and getting stuff out there and getting people to take a bit of responsibility, which won't happen overnight. But I don't think there's a silver bullet to this other than get the police on there, show some preference, presence rather. Sorry, it's Council then.
Yeah.
Council Lane, sorry.
With like many projects and things that go on, if you give people ownership of something, if you get them involved or passionate about something, they tend to look after it. Obviously, we are all fully aware, and it's been discussed earlier, that there is a lack of provision for children in the town, and I am very mindful of time now tomorrow. Maybe we should look at maybe the summer holidays are coming up, trying to engage with the young children and adults that probably live on Gravesend Park, that do get bored and out of boredom do stupid things, and I'm accusing anyone of anything. But maybe run a summer camp with there's funding, I'm assuming, somewhere, and then we could find someone, run a summer camp for a tennis school, try and get the children interested in using the facility. If we can get children interested in using the facility, we may well then get them to respect it a little bit more and look after it a little bit better.
Absolutely.
But that would need to go to another agenda, maybe the Environment Committee or something. Maybe someone could look at if there's any summer funding available at Brackland.
Yeah.
Any match funding that we could tap into.
No? Excellent idea. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm just reiterating the gentleman earlier on was saying there isn't anything for the youngsters to do in the town, and we have a facility, a tennis court that is well used, it's often booked, as our clerk has reported, and it's getting vandalised by these delightful children who think there's nothing to do in the town. I know that a council a couple of years ago tried to get a sports day organised up there, an open day, which I think is a good thought, but in the short term, perhaps another possibility is to investigate a different type of netting. I don't know if there's any sort of more permanent, rather than a net, if there's something else that could be put there. But as the clerk has rightly pointed out, a lot of the bookings are evenings and weekends, which is when people want to use it. And the other thing I will say is, which we don't do, and I think maybe we should, is let the public know about this vandalism, share photos, and so that the community is aware, because there's probably an awful lot of people living in that area who aren't even aware that the mess that we're having to clear up every morning. I mean, there's been talk on social media that our grounds team don't do anything, but we know that every morning they have to go and sort the mess out in the public toilets. And every day they have to go and pick up litter everywhere. And this thing about the locks has been going on for a while. And I think maybe if we start telling the community, this is what your money is being spent on. It's being spent on clearing up that petty vandalism. And it is a minority. You know, there's nearly 12,000 people live in this town, and there's probably about 20 or 30 of them that are causing these problems, but it just disrupts it for everyone else, which is a great shame.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, any ideas, but I think fundamentally long term, as we look to put new facilities in and expand facilities, it's getting that message across. You know, it's yours. You know, we pay for it. And it's not education, but it's trying to get that community ownership, as you rightly say. So, okay, other than raising it with the police immediately and through SNAP, and if you are able to talk to the councils, if they've got some facilities, what the daily, what the encounters. But yeah, I totally agree. Possibly. So I'm not sure we've got a resolution other than talk to the police and bring it up with SNAP. Technically, I don't think there's much more.
Well, the option either remains locked and it can't be used, or we risk leaving it open, or I don't know, I can't think of any other options, that's why I wanted it to be a council decision.
Sorry, Chair, can I suggest that we look at an anti-vandal net of some sort, because there are more robust nettings than what he has there. And then with the view of leaving it open. So it could eliminate part of it. If we can at least try that with what we're doing, we report it to police, to the snap, highlighting it on social media, so the community are aware of vandalism. I think these are all good things working together. We might get somewhere with it. And I do like the idea that Sam raised about seeing if there's some people in the community willing to do some training on tennis for kids and stuff. That's a great idea. So I think there's a number of things that we can do that will help some.
Before you do, I'm conscious of time, do we need to have an agreement?
In the standing orders, the way that we amended it is, I'm right in saying this, Tony, you can correct me if I'm wrong. We put the expected time is 2 hours.
Brilliant.
And then a councillor can recommend that we defer or suspend the meeting, or defer items to the next meeting after 2 hours, which then the council can decide on collecting. But it's not set in stone like it used to be.
Okay, can I suggest there's not much left, we just crack on?
I was just going to follow up with Councillor S. Taylor's suggestion about the summer camp and just say that one of our previous councillors, Josh Francis, he actually instigated something like that, didn't he? And because I think he was either a tennis coach or was part of the tennis club. So maybe that's a contact that councillor previously had that we can reach out to try and initiate that.
Still, I'm in touch.
Yeah, I'm in touch with him. He lives in Norwich now, but
But also, I think the wider thing is summer camps and what have you is, I don't know what Brecon do. District councillors obviously got more idea, but let's get in touch with Brecon or what do you do, but can we do something a bit different and do something a bit innovative? If it's happening in Atterbury, it's probably happening elsewhere. So a bit of a,
Yeah, the summer programme is going to be put together soon,
right.
in conjunction with the county council, so I think that.
Okay, so we explore that as well. Okay, great. So the resolution being
all of the above.
Yeah.
Okay, you need to vote on that? Over. So councillor J. Taylor, seconded, councillor Leslie.
Can we just have like a summary, just read back to us so that we know what we're agreeing?
Don't you remember?
I mean, we have a good idea, but it would be nice to know what.
So we're going to refer to SNAP, refer to the police. We are going to explore the option of an anti-vandal tennis net, and we're also going to explore the options and bear in mind the ex-councillor Josh Francis for maybe doing some sort of tennis coaching for children.
Can I just amend that? Just maybe ask the ex-councillor Josh Francis if he knows of any organisations, clubs or groups.
I think it's just making contact. I don't think it's an emphasis on this.
Are we happy with that? Do it right, vote, please. Thank you. I mean, it is sad, but no, it is a learning curve, and we put new facilities in there. I guess to check them. Right, item 17 there, this came up at the town council. Don't want to say gold standard, but bus stop, Queen Square. I know there was a meeting, EGM, which unfortunately I couldn't attend, so.
As far as I'm aware, this has been approved by the council.
Yeah.
It's been approved. This was a suggestion on design.
So
was it approved on design or was it approved on we will continue
it was
to?
It was approved in principle, but we wanted an input into the design. So this is what they put forward for our opinions on this design.
So that's what's been put forward tonight.
Yes.
Can I just add something? Sorry.
Yeah, please.
I do want that the new, some of the new councillors here. So this whole gold standard thing, it's not just about a bus shuttle.
Sorry, excuse me. Councillor Taylor.
Yeah.
Councillor Leslie.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Councillor Lane.
Okay, so this This gold standard is, what it is, it's not just a shelter, it's actually making Attleborough a gold hub, which means along with, they want to put shelter in, means that we are going to get an enhanced bus service, we're going to get electronic timing. There's various hubs in Norfolk been highlighted as gold. The only platinum hub is Surrey Street, so it shows the level, and it's to encourage people to use public transport. The bus services will run later through the evening and more regularly, is what we've been told. And obviously, any new shelter will have lighting in it as well. There was concerns raised when we had the meeting about our old bus shelter and the fact it's been there for a lot of years, etc. And they said that they were happy to work with us to do whatever basically we feel would enhance the area. They said there are various design companies they use that they would liaise with us. We raised the question about all the other bus stops around the town that we could do with shelters on them. And they said this is a separate project, but they're happy to work with us on installing bus shelters around the town. They said, unfortunately, we'd missed out on some Section 106 money that with the new developments, which would have gone towards those shelters. But I think I'm right in saying, Michelle, they've got back 12,000, wasn't it?
12,000.
12,000
mentioned, and 5 of that was from Audrey's.
Yeah, that could be used around the town, but this is a separate project where they're looking to enhance Attleborough as a hub for public transport. Included, one of the recommendations they've included, but we don't have to go along with it, is a lockable bicycle storage area as well. So it's really about including, bringing Attleborough a much more efficient bus service, which, considering we just had a conversation about the Wyndham College situation, is, I don't know how that's come, but that's what this is about. And so it was agreed in principle, and they said they would send us some designs, but it looks like they've only sent us one. Is that right, Michelle? We've only had that one design.
Yes, yeah, that's what they put that forward because I said we want something environmentally friendly and such, and not something that would need a lot of maintenance like wood. So this is what they've come forward with, that green roof and not wood. That's it.
Okay, so I totally agree with the principles and the concepts and everything else, quite right, but that's the design. I want to clarify, if we accept this, are we accepting that design? Are we accepting, yes, the concept?
No, we've already accepted the
I mean,
concept.
so
They're
that's
asking
good
us
on
what we
that
want
design.
on this design.
Okay, well, I'll open it up to councillors.
Well, actually, what I just took from Councillor Lane's update, and I'm not, there's nothing against Councillor Lane, because obviously she's just reading it. We are being held over a barrel. If we do not accept this bus shelter, our residents don't get an upgraded bus service, our residents don't get gold standard transport, our residents don't get priority late night. Wow.
No, that's not the case. It's when you say gold standard, it's in the bus service will be enhanced, and also there will be an enhanced stop outside Queen.
So why can't we have the enhanced bus?
That will have real-time information.
Like, so we're going to stick another techno screen in the town centre, like it's already there.
Hold on, there's two things. One, I find it inconceivable that we'll get better bus service because the county council can't subsidise bus services. They've already could have.
That's one thing, the bus stop brings a better service.
If that's the design, that's the standard design of bus shelters for the last 20 years. Yes, all the other things, real-time information, which we've been asking for many years now, and all the other things have been requested to the county council. What I'm not clear about, it's not my decision, is if it's approved that you get everything else, or if you don't, because that is a standard bus shelter, quite frankly. And again, whether taking into account the comments you made, Councillor Bob, in terms of we've got the design guide, we've got the town centre character assessment and everything else, how does that fit in?
Can I
to this.
suggest we?
So I'm really.
Can I suggest we get that chat to do that presentation again?
I think so, with new councillors as
With the
well.
new councillors,
Yeah.
because it was really informative and trying to actually relay it, and most of the people who
Yeah.
weren't there, and yourself and councillor Taylor weren't able to be there, so I think. No, she
I was at the
couldn't.
meeting, I wasn't at the.
Yeah, I think if we could get him to do it, we have agreed it in principle. My understanding was they were going to come back to us with various designs. And we've only.
Yeah, we
got-
can't go back and say we don't
Yeah,
like
but
this,
I
but
think-
he would then like some idea of what we would like to see.
Okay,
I think we need the presentation so everyone understands.
I think the suggestions made have come back, because those that were there, you've been able to digest it and think it through. Those that are new, it's like, what is this? How does it work? And also unpacking this package of what dependent on what. It doesn't work like that in shape, way, and form. And also, I think I said at the last committee or council committee meeting of, okay, we might go along with this, but we want some commitment for you at Norfolk County Council. What are you doing on London Road? What are you doing on Irish Road?
Yeah,
So-
again, he did
did
give support for that, but I think that would be important that he does that at that presentation to everybody.
Okay, so if you're all happy, again, conscious of time, of suggesting we invite the county council back again, saying we've had a very informative discussion that's raised a few more questions. We still agree with concept and principle.
In
You know,
principle.
in principle, we do want it, ask for it to be a sustainable town. We've promoted that for years with the neighbourhood plan. So we want to discuss this with you. Otherwise, we can go around and circles this, and then perhaps after that we can come back. If they need a decision, then whether we have to bite the bullet or what have you, but at least more informed than I think where a lot of us are at the moment.
That's fine, I'll go back
Is
to
that
it.
okay?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for your members that public that's still here. Wake up now. It's now an opportunity to, you've heard what's been discussed. If you've got any questions, yes, please.
Going back to the earlier discussion about gamers, there were two points I don't think were actually resolved. One was about the grass cutting, and is that going to be done before Saturday?
No, it's going to be done on Monday.
Oh, okay, and my second question on that is, how do they get in? And can that be blocked up?
That's
How-
why they're not cutting the grass.
No, but how are they getting in?
They're prioritising blocking it off. They're
Yeah.
getting in down the far end.
Yeah.
The back end of Blaze Lane end. And apparently at one point there were some rotten tree stumps that were blocking access, but at some point they've been removed. I don't know when. And we're talking multiple horses and traps. So we've had to prioritise securing the site.
Okay, and Grosvenor Park, is there any way, we talk about involving the town and people that use it? Would there be someone taking like a little mini working group? And they take that in and put it out again? Is that something that could be done up there?
Do you mean like a, almost like a residential like
Yeah.
association or maybe
Yeah,
something
Yeah,
that's a
people
little
that
bit
use
more
it sort of take
separate.
responsibility of sort of first in, they have an area where they can store the net. When they put the net in,
Oh, you could put like a coded, like a coded box or something like
Yeah.
that, so people could put the code in to get the net out, so
Yeah.
it should be
Unless
obviously.
they put super glue in it.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
don't do that, we did that.
We have had those, but I still think I'll put super glue in that.
Yeah.
But we can try it.
Somebody try it.
Well,
Something that we discussed about, with the people that use it, if anybody is willing, because they're the people who use it, just if they would be willing to
That's
help
something I
keep
was
it
going
nice.
to say on that, because if you develop a community around
Yeah.
it, you'll develop a club and people that
Yeah.
potentially could do it. But you may have two problems. One, people are super doing a lot, so people can't get in. The other one, people are cutting the fence, getting to use it. So you may have people that don't want that there, and that are stopping people going in there.
I don't. I appreciate what you're saying.
Yeah,
It's a good
I
point,
just-
but I don't think it's the case. I think what it is it's kids that kick their ball over out of hours that then cut the fence to get it. And there's another issue in that obviously there is no goal up there and they use the side of the tennis net as a goal post. So I think it's to get
But the
balls
super
back.
glue in the lock, people possibly trying to stop people going into use it.
Just plug them
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, well, again,
So
there's a
leaving
lot
it
of,
open and making it safe to not get vandalised.
there's a lot of issues, and
Yeah.
we'll look at them
You can't
as
balance
we've
them all, it's
discussed, and just do the best we can, but ultimately.
As I say, I do think if you've got the community that use the area, give them a little bit of responsibility and I'm sure they take it.
No, good point, thank you. Anyone else?
On the Wyndham College bus, so I'm quite informed in this because my daughter uses the bus. They run a bus now that first put on from Norwich to the college.
Yeah.
But they're not running this way to the college.
Yeah.
But from what she said, it gets to the college quite early. A simple discussion to carry on to Attleborough and back might be something that could be proposed. Who knows?
Good idea, they would do.
It sounds too much like common sense.
Yeah.
doesn't it?
And I know the school have, I've seen letters from the school.
Yeah.
And the only other thing, and I don't know if you're able to look into it anymore, you're aware the school was cyber attacked.
Yeah.
And obviously a lot of people in the town that have had people there, and they have yet to let people know what was compromised, exposed, etc.
They wouldn't tell you anything. And I know, I've got a daughter there, I'm
Yeah.
also on the local compliance committee of
I
Sapienta
I personally
Education
felt
Trust.
that
i.e.
they
Wyndham
should be
College.
exposing that. At least
You're
you know.
you're not gonna know, you shouldn't know. And that, so, yeah. But, good point, yes, it did get hit, luckily, all the other schools in the trust were on separate servers, so it's just, unfortunately. Yes, Steve.
A resident, friend of mine, he said he'd heard a rumour of the link road through the signal when it happened. But that wasn't going to be going ahead, I know somewhere where he said the three buildings decided it wasn't going to be going ahead. So the intrusion.
Who knows? What was agreed as part of the planning application has been agreed, as far as I'm aware, in terms of the outline. So after 1,200 houses, Link Road needs to be done.
Yeah, I'm sort of going to start the Bund Bank end, which is 1,200 houses eventually.
So, I don't know, I'm not going to speculate, I don't know where that really came from, I'm sure. Breckland don't, and it probably is just a rumour. So, but no, thanks for highlighting it. And again, I mean, it's interesting just using that as an example of how far as council in terms of we hear rumours back to communication, putting stuff on the website saying you might have heard this, but it's not true and what have you. But we need to be careful that it's part of our role of informing and communicating with the community generally. But we need to be sure what is said. But no, thanks. Anyone else? Yep, please.
A couple of things. First one on the bus stop shelter. Having looked into this previously, is there a time frame on this that the council's going to miss out? I know that a couple of councillors didn't want this to go ahead anyway, but I would hate to think that this is being deferred and slowed down in order to miss a deadline.
I will find out. I'm not aware.
Because it'd be showing about a lost out. Because I know there's only 20 of these in the county. We've been chosen for one. It'd be showing that through deferment and inaction, it gets missed out. And we lose out yet again. That's the first thing. The second one, live streaming was something we used to have and it got stopped. And then there's been talk about it in the past. I think that would be a great thing to start. That would stop the need for people needing to record themselves, etc. So is that something that can be brought back?
I've got no objections to that.
When would that happen then?
So the conversation we had with the guys from UP, and we've actually had BT in this week. The reason we don't do it is because it's so unreliable. What they've now said is they actually might be able to solve this for us in a different way. So when I'm not very techy, so I might not explain this right, but we're sharing the internet with the rest of Attleborough. So the more people go online, the slower your service becomes. What they're now going to look at doing, because it's not just live streaming, it's our systems upstairs being unreliable, is they're looking at putting us in our own dedicated line, specifically to the town hall, that won't be interfered with or compromised by more people using the network. And that's due to be installed. When are they doing that? Very soon. So if that solves our connectivity issues, there's no reason why we can't do it. But we would rather record and know we've got a good recording than try and do it through live stream and lose it halfway through, which is what happens at the minute.
I think it'd be a good thing to get that live stream in.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree.
As fast as you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, doing both and getting the live stream and the recording. If the live stream went down, the recording still running.
I don't know, do you?
Well, let's.
I'm not taking it.
If you followed that up.
Yeah, well, we've already booked
People, and
that.
we'll
We've
come
booked
back
the
and
tech in.
we'll come back and report on that. But I think the principle of live streaming, yeah, absolutely. I don't think there's a reason not to do it unless there is a technical reason. I'm not technically in shape way for, so we'll come back on it. Thank you. Anyone else very quickly? No? Okay, thank you. Item 19, any items which chairman decides are urgent. I think we've gone through what we'd like to bring up at the next agenda. One thing I would like to say at the start of a new council term of 4 years, it's always worth reminding ourselves, I do certainly, of why we're here. You know, there might be personal reasons, there might be other reasons, but fundamentally, we are here to represent the public, community, businesses, and the town of Attleborough. That is our job, that's our responsibility, that's our role. And for all our various reasons, we've decided to step up to that role and those responsibilities. Now, we all come in with our own personal views, our personal differences, because that's what we are human, we are personal. And that's good because it creates debate, it creates discussion. I want to encourage debate and discussion. What I don't want to do is see us bring personal issues and bring them out in council meetings. Also, we need to recognise, yes, we are councillors around this table, but also councillors day to day, 24/7 in the town. The public do expect us to have standards, do expect us to fulfil our role in any shape, way or form. And I would like to ask and encourage all of us, yes, let's have debate, let's have discussion, it's healthy, but let's also be mindful of, we can put our personal views forward, but fundamentally what in balance is the best for the community and the public and businesses, and that as councillors is our role and responsibility. And yes, we have got, you know, we put ourselves forward, we now have a responsibility on our shoulders. Sometimes it's easy to forget that because we all do it, but fundamentally it is. So I'd like to remind us why we're here, why we want to do this, but also what it means for us personally of doing that, dare I say, duty, that service, and how we conduct ourselves. In doing that, and also I'll talk to Michelle, and I know the email came out in terms of training. I think there are some fundamental basic training that I think all councillors should go on, and I'd like to say it should be mandatory. I can't say that, I don't know how to do that. But what is to be a councillor? What can you do? What can't you do? And we might think we know that, but I think it would show dedication to the public that you've gone through that training, not guessed it, as it were. We've got a new start. We've got fantastic opportunities, lots of things. There's going to be lots of challenges, building on what Councillor Leslie and the previous council have done. Let's maintain that, but also let's do it in a very professional manner, which I know we can do. We can do this. So that's all I'd like to say. I'd like to say again, thanks very much for putting faith in me. I can only do what you allow me to do. I'll do the best I can, but I can only do what you allow me to do. And collectively, we need to work together. Let's do the best for the town. So, thank you. So, items, next agenda, we've got play area proposals, removal of cemetery spoil, website trial.
And then I've got the other things.
And then the other things. And is that it?
Yeah.
So, close the meeting, thank you.